Okay, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I like this. See a lot of cameras turning on. If you would like to, yes, please do join me by turning on your camera. It's good to be able to see you and to see who I am sharing with. So, welcome, everybody. It is so nice of you to join us. My name is Ray Crist. I'm the founder of the JaguarPath. I'll do a little bit of history, just a tad, because I think that I'm seeing a lot of new faces, new people. So welcome. I created the Jaguar Path over 15 years ago through my experiences and my continuing experience of apprenticing with the shamans in Peru. I've had four main teachers, I should say, with two different lineages. And I've discovered a whole new life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to dive into a little bit to share about the Inca cross, the Chakana, the Inca cross, or the Incan Medicine Wheel. I am talking to you guys directly from our house in Costa Rica, where we've chosen to be with everything happening in the world, more connected to the jungle and to a lot of wildlife and around, rather, our house. So it feels really good to have that everyday experience, to be with, in connection and see and hear animals and be in their presence. It's just so beautiful. And it feels really right to be sharing. Here's a husky power animal. It feels really good to be sharing about the power animals. Today we'll talk about the jaguar. Okay, I would like to start by opening sacred space. So I invite you to find a comfortable seat, and if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, come within, anything that works best for you. To the winds of the south, great serpent Amaru, be here with us. Wrap your claws of light around us. Teach us how to shed our skin and let go of the past. Teach us how to make changes in our life. Teach us how to walk with beauty and how to feel Mother Earth as our true mother and as a living being, like you always feel her belly to belly. Be here, serpent. Great Amaru. Allow us to change. Horpichai. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, great jaguar, be here with us, pace around us. Allow your heartbeat to echo in each and every one of our heartbeats. Allow us to feel your courage, a quality of no fear in this world or the next. Be here, Otorongo, great jaguar, and teach us how to cross the rainbow, to connect the two worlds, this world and the spirit world. Teach us, above all, how to think and act with no fear. Be here, Torongo. Awaken our sensitivity, that sensitivity that you have in your paws. Awaken our strength, that you have in your claws. Be here, teach us how to walk with grace and precision. Horpichai. Turn to the north. The winds of the north. Sweet Colimbri hummingbird, beloved ancestors, be here with us. Sweet hummingbird, thank you for taking us to our ancestors. Thank you for teaching us how to fly backwards and go and heal the past, so then we can move forward and left and right to collect the beautiful nectar of life. Beloved ancestors, Taoists of China, yogis of India, Peruvian Inca shamans, Pacos, may we tap into you. May we be attuned to your teachings and to that state of consciousness of being fully awakened, of awakening the shaman within us. Horpichai. Turning to the east. The winds of the east, great condor, spiral upward. Teach us how to rise above, how to spiral way above our life. And from there, from high above, see the greater picture of our life. From there, from high above, make better informed decisions. Teach us, beloved Kondora, how to fly, and remind us how we're always connected with a great spirit, just exactly like you, when you're always flying wing to wing with a great one. Teach us liberation, allow us and teach us the sensation of freedom, of sweetness, and allow us and teach us the most beautiful lesson of detachment and discernment, from clarity from high above, to have discernment, to make correct choices, to make correct moves. Be here, Kondora. Horpichai. And feeling below you, Mother Earth. Santa Terra Pachamama Dulce Mamita. Thank you, sweet Mother Earth, for all the gifts you give us, for all of our life is your gifts. From the bodies we have from our own body, the elements that you gave so we can build our body, the nourishment, the food, the fruits, the vegetables you give to sustain our body, and the fact that we can return our body back to you when we leave. Thank you, Mother Earth, for all your gifts, your forests, your lakes, your oceans, your mountains, your deserts. Thank you for every single thing that we have, because every single thing comes from you. In deep gratitude, Pachamama. Horpichai. Rising above. Intitai Tamama Killa. Thank you, Father Son, for the light you shed and send us. Thank you for the fire you send us so we can burn old contracts. Thank you for the warmth and the prana, the life force that you give us to sustain us in life. And Mama Killa, sweet Grandmother Moon, thank you for your feminine energy and your reflecting quality. May we always remember to reflect upon our day, to reflect upon each and every experience, so we can invite these experiences to become more lessons and clarity in our own life. Horpichai. And inviting your hands to your heart, bow your chin to your heart. Thank yourself in all of our trainings. You are the guru. You're the one that chooses what of these pieces of this knowledge and the lineage I'm sharing, what you would like to take and how you like to use it in your everyday life. Honor yourself as the great teacher that you are. And if you wish to, only if you wish to, you can bow deeper to any god or goddess. I bow deeply with sweet love to Saint Francis, who's been with me for all my life. And I also bow deeply with love and appreciation to Hanuman, the monkey god, for his quality of service and offering to others. Sweet, and with that said, inhale and rise and open your eyes. Welcome once again. It's nice to see. I see some Mesa carriers present here today. All right, welcome. I see lions, I see sheep and dogs. This is so awesome, so awesome. So once again, welcome. This series of these 4 masterclasses is leading to the series, it's 12-week series of the Medicine Wheel, and it's essentially a gift or an introduction, something I want to share. I always share both with absolute reverence and respect to my teachers in the lineage, and I'm always staying there close to the lineage and their teachings. And the beautiful thing is that I love and appreciate from my teachers, Don Francisco, Wilbert, Juana, Bernardina. They all are really close to me, and they keep on guiding me and they keep on blessing me. I have to say that over 20 some years ago, I had only some very little a sensation of what shamans or sorcerers are. A curiosity, if you want. But now close to more than 15 years, working with the shamans, Peru, the Keros, where all this information comes from, It's really shifted what do I think about shamans, and it's really shifted my whole perception of what I think about life. And so I feel that my life is really clearly life before the shamanism and life thereafter. And it's almost like, in some ways, a mundane life before and a really divine and filled with reverence life after. And if anything, I want to say that's one of the biggest things I've learned and the biggest, most important thing I love to share with others, the reverence as a quality of being. Right? It's something that I feel that we lost in the Western world when, during the Dark Ages, when magic was persecuted, and definitely with all this industrial revolution, when and technological revolution, when the more simple things lost their magic and their power in front of shiny things like TVs and computers and fast cars and airplanes, etc. So I'm coming from a place that, and I think this is really important for me to bring forward, is like why I am teaching this and how perhaps you can use this information. Because I can go directly just to the information and talk about Jaguar and talk about the Chakana, etc., and I will. But I do want to share this piece of how can this be useful? Because we could say, well, yeah, the Aztecs did this, the Egyptians did this, or the ancient Greeks did that. I think there's a little bit more than just a cultural gift of learning about the traditions and a belief system of an older system. What I find in this work is that it is absolutely applicable to everyday life, and it's not only absolutely applicable, it's a way of being. So when we introduce all this work and we start connecting with the power animals, we start learning about how the structure of the universe, so the Inca's cosmology, how they saw the cosmos and the structure through the Chakana. When we look at the Chakana and we see all that, what they believe and how everything is structured to create reality, we begin to restructure ourselves a new way of seeing things. It is my belief, or it had been in my experience, that because of technology, and mind you, I still love technology and I think it's a great thing. I think it could be really useful, helpful, both in medicine and communication, and in so many ways amazing. Like today, we're like in different parts of the world and we're all together. And I find that to be very beautiful. But in the meantime, like I said, it's just like I feel that one of the things that happened through the Dark Ages is that magic was scared out of us, right? Women were persecuted and animals were persecuted and magic were persecuted. And as they were persecuted, what that means is that they pushed out and shifted our vocabulary, our way of viewing reality itself, and a way of acting in life. And definitely, by all means, it changed our priorities, it changed our values. It definitely scared us when you have 300 years or 400 years of people being put to the pyre. If anyone would ask me back then, it's like, do you do magic? I'll be, no, I don't know magic at all. So imagine this, the 400 years, 500 years, we've been taught the first thing so we could survive, so we won't be put to the pyre. Where like, I have no clue what magic is. That's silly. Magic doesn't exist. Has nothing to do with me, right? We kind of like pulled back. And I think that's one of the things that has really drastically changed in my life, bringing in the teachings, learning, and understanding more. The most important thing, just as a clear statement, is like everything is magic. The sunrise is magic, the sunset is magic, the way the molecules, the cells work, the way we as people love each other. There's just, everything is magic. And with that magic also, when we tune into it and start believing in it and understanding its nature and its truth, then we come back to attuning to something that is natural and within all of us. And this is why I feel this work of the Keros is so important. Because they're bringing us back to the truth. They're bringing us back to a reality that we've lost. One of the things that's happened to the modern world is that I feel, and it might be true, not for everyone, but for some, it's like we've cultivated this arrogance that we now, of this generation, excuse me, and of this technology, we're superior to any other previous generation that was here of humanity. And obviously we're superior to all animals because we've driven so many species to extinction. And so it is clear to me that, and living again, like say going 20 years back, before I worked with the shamans, before I started learning all this, before I created the school, before I tapped into my magic, I did live in a mundane world. I lived in a world that magic wasn't present. And in many ways, you know, we could say all we want that we're a superior generation because of the computers and Tesla or whatever. But in essence, we're the generation now that's gone even further away from the Dark Ages to now, even further away from nature. And thus we've moved away from our own nature. I work with people and do shamanic consultations, but our school teaches shamanic consultations, how you can offer shamanic consultations, how you become a shaman healer, right? In the JaguarPath, we teach in the 9-month training 18 tools. Over and over again, every time I work with someone, that is the most clear thing I see, that there's a crisis in someone's life that may already have manifested in the physical, or not, is still only psychological. They may be going through a difficult divorce or breakup. They may have been going through a difficult experience, a traumatic experience. But whatever it is clear to me that the big pain is the sense of being lost because you have nowhere to hold on to. Nowhere to hold on to. It's like, and I can't look at life. I can't even imagine how it would be to walk in life without my Jaguar by my side. I always walk with my Jaguar. And I deeply love and respect and look at the toucans that live around in the area, the the turtles that are at our beach, not half a mile down the road. And I truly love them and respect them and learn from them, and have begun all this time with the power animals work, with the Chakana, with a medicine wheel, to recreate these relationships. And thus I'm recreating a connection to reality. Because as I said again, the modern world has cut itself off from nature. It's snobbing nature. And that by itself is a skewed view of reality, because our reality is the sun, the fire, right? Is the earth, our planet and the earth. Is the wood, it comes from the forest, is the water from the rivers, the oceans, the lakes, and the air we breathe. So we have all these like the 4 elements of life, which is all of nature, which really creates reality, which also gives us all these elements to build the body. And with that, fire, the electricity in our body, the water, all the chemicals in our body, the hormones, etc. We're really igniting the divine consciousness, awareness itself. But if I don't know my media, if I don't know, it's like with the ancient Greeks, and sure I have Greek heritage, which I'm really proud of. My mother's Greek, my father was American. Ancient Greeks, Socrates said, know thyself. So one of the things that I'm looking at and I see with people that are troubled or hurt, or they come for consultations, they're desperate, they've been desperation, they can't, they're just either sad or even falling apart, or sincerely trying to find a new balance. again over and over what is really clear, that the most important thing that's missing from their life is not the ability to come out of a traumatic experience or to come out of a difficult divorce. So it's like we can all muster up that energy. But the reason it's so difficult is exactly that. It's the gap, the distance from actual reality and actual what's happening in the background of our mind. So I'm going to bring it to the background of our mind and take it to the background of the mind of the Incas and the Queros, who essentially, my teachers are essentially the direct descendants of the Incas. So in essence, the way we view the world is through what we download into a software, if you want, from our language, values, etc. And when we live life by that, and having left out all this magical part or the actual relationship with the world of nature and animals, we are not running a full program. Our software has these big gaps. Am I making sense? It's like I don't have enough software. It's like having a computer and you're trying to work with an old IBM and trying to run a new program. Like, remember those IBMs? Any of you my age, were they the first yellow kind of like plastic IBMs that had come out? Right? They had the DOS system, DOS. What was that? And now you're trying to run a system that you can't because they don't have the capacity. And it feels like that to me. The whole idea of what I'm sharing through this masterclass and through all my trainings, all the trainings of the JaguarPath, is an upgrade of the software. Is downloading what is real and downloading important software where when missing, we do not have the full image of what is true and what is real. And when we don't have the full image of what is true and what is real, one of the things that really takes over easily and quickly is fear or anger separation. So a lot of people live in fear, a lot of people live in anger. Those are both emotions that are born of ignorance, that are born of sense of lack. And again, that sense of lack is a direct plug-in to nature, that direct relationship to animals, and the whole download of having this knowledge that the shamans, the Queros, share with us, and thus have a more full way of viewing the world. And I'll just go back to where, and we'll dive into the Jaguar, and I definitely will open it up for questions also. But when I first arrived in Peru and I met Don Francisco, who I love dearly, and if you noticed, I said earlier, I invite Saint Francis. I love Saint Francis. I call him the shaman, the Christian shaman, because he talked with the animals, right? He loved animals. He talked with animals. He was always kind of like considered a little bit weird or a little bit off. So when I met Don Francisco, I was absolutely psyched. It's like this is not a coincidence. The first shaman I meet has Francis's name. That's perfect. And one of the first things that he said to me is, he said, "Ray, you are lost, and you need a compass. You need to find your way. You need to find ways and a compass to find your way." And it was true. I was lost. Not only was I in that space, like I mentioned earlier, that I didn't have those connections with the power animals, but I didn't have any connection with metaphysics. No, with nature, I should say. So when I started my training with Don Francisco, that was exactly the first thing I started. With the medicine wheel, or the Chakana. The Chakana is the Inca Medicine Wheel. And I'm going to go once just around and say the Chakana is essentially a shape that within it, and that's what we'll be looking at the training coming up in March. Within it, you will see the whole cosmology. They've created a map and a compass within it that shows the structure of the universe and the relationship of the earth with the heavens and the nature of what it means to be human and the nature of what it means to be a part of a community. So family, community, and self. And it is, I feel, a map to learning about the Chakana and every aspect of that allows us again to understand ourselves more and the structure of relationships and the structure of community. So one of the most important things is that the shamans recognize is that in each direction, there's a different quality of energy. It's not everywhere the same. Not everything is always the same and any direction is the same. But when we move towards the south, when we look towards the south, we have that energy of a serpent to teach us how to shed our skin and let go of the past. Amaru teaches us how to walk with beauty, how to recognize Mother Earth as exactly that, as a mother, as a living being, because the serpents feel her. They're always belly to belly with her. So there's a real personal relationship and deeply feminine relationship. And when we go to the west, it is the power of the Jaguar. I'll return to the Jaguar. I won't say anything right now because we'll dive into it a little bit more. That's what we're focusing on today. When we go to the north, we come to hummingbird and the quality of nectar and sweetness. And when we go to the east, we come to condor, where we find the quality of rising above things, like a little bit of detachment and a lot of discernment, to be able to see things from above, right? Because when we're emotionally entangled in a situation and we try to make some decisions emotionally charged and emotionally entangled, more often than not, we may not make the right decisions. We're learning how to rise above and coming up to condor and learning discernment and to learn to be able to distance ourselves a little bit from things so we can think with clarity. I think is a huge, beautiful, beautiful gift. So today we're going to talk about Jaguar, and again I'm going to talk about what the Jaguar is, what it's been for me. I'll share some personal stories actually and why our school is called the JaguarPath. And I will totally also open it to questions. I feel that there's a lot I can talk about, but it's because there's just such a broad and big quantity really of information. I think it's more important that I answer questions or really address things that you may already have curiosity for or want to ask. So Jaguar, the West. The Jaguar represents no fear. And when you really look at the Jaguar is, here in Costa Rica, we have the largest population of jaguars from the whole world, because it's the narrow passage of Central America, and they come all the way down from the United States and all of Mexico. They come down through here, they kind of funnel in. We have had the opportunity, Nina, my wife and I, to actually see one like in 20 feet distance. A beautiful, awe-inspiring moment that we cherish and love and kind of like repeat as many times as we can. So we saw a jaguar, we saw a jaguar. Beauty of that power of seeing any animal, but especially seeing a jaguar this close. Jaguars are on the top of the food chain. So there is no animal that is going to be stalking a jaguar. When a jaguar walks, never turns around. She doesn't turn around to say, is someone stalking me? Am I in danger? There is no sense of fear. It's almost like I want to say there's not even the chemical. They don't have the hormone to be afraid. They have chemicals that they need to be very aware of the surrounding. That's one of the biggest gifts of the jaguar. The jaguar is considered in so many countries to be the symbol of the shaman, exactly because it has this huge, broad ability to do things and to experience things and to act in the world. And what I mean with that, it has instinct that is really clear that it uses, and we could see both from what the shamans share with us, but even from watching documentaries. It's just wonderful. It's just amazing to watch how jaguars live. And a lot of information I've gotten from the jungles here and in the jungles of Peru, walking with tribe people that share the power of the jaguar. So the jaguar is on the top of the food chain. thus is not informed by fear. And here I'm going to say, talking about completing our software and why this is important. I'm going to say maybe you can wave your hand. Do you ever feel fear? Let me see hands if you ever feel fear. Right, okay, the three of you guys. Yeah, a little bit. We are very low in the food chain as mammals. We're like almost at the bottom. So fear, in our case, also kind of in some ways protects us because we become more aware. It allows us to wake up to any kind of danger. But it also implements itself or imposes, I should say, itself, that fear on the way we think. So many times we won't think out of our box. We won't dare to do things that we're not used to doing, or we won't dare to move into a whole new situation, like a new business or a new journey into another foreign country or a new relationship or this or that. So fear kind of like has a grip on us. And many times we call it logic. It's like think and be careful. And like, but really, although we do have logic, kind of, maybe, as beings, we are primarily and first of all mammals, right? We're primates. We're mammals. So that, again, mammalian nature imposes itself on us first of all, before anything, before that civilization came, before we started separating ourselves from nature itself. We still act and come from a place of mammals. It's our nature. We are mammals. You know, we get happy. We like to wag our tail. We get scared. We put our tail under our legs. We hide. We shake. Or we purr when we're really, really feeling really good. We have all the sensations and emotions that mammals have. We have a mammalian endocrine system. So when the jaguar comes along, the jaguar says you can really expand your nature. Jaguars have the ability to get birds or monkeys off trees that are 30 and 40 feet above the ground, either by climbing the tree directly, or there's one case when I was out in Peru, there's this tree that had fallen, and it had fallen on another tree lower. So it was like this trunk of a tree that was like about 45 degrees. And he showed me, my guide showed me all the scratches from the jaguar nails, claws, on that bark of that tree. And he explained to me how he would use it. The jaguar would use that 45-degree tree as a takeoff ramp to jump to the tree that was about another 20 or 30 feet away. And they would just run and just take off like a rocket to grab a monkey or a bird sitting up there. Jaguars are expert fishermen. Fisher jaguars. Jaguars are excellent in fishing. They can go underwater up to 20 feet. They have an awesome eyesight underwater, and they are amazing at catching fish. They catch fish, they catch turtles, they catch caimans, those small alligators. Underwater, there is nothing that stops a jaguar from a decision. So when we look at a jaguar stalking, say, an alligator, it's like almost when we decide we want to do something in life, like I'm stalking something, and it's like to start to learn from the jaguar can allow me to start to tap into that ability of becoming a great stalker and becoming a really sharp, becoming sharp at delivering, catching that alligator, catching that monkey. Some things in life almost seem like they're up in a very high tree, like a bird that I can't reach, or some things seem difficult and really deep, like a 20-foot deep water or river or lake. And instead of saying, well, I can't do that, that's out of my scope, the more we create that relationship with the jaguar and we learn from it, we learn how to apply this and how to apply ourselves like jaguars, or inviting jaguar power in our own life. And then we can apply ourselves on anything that we're stalking, right? When I'm saying stalking something, I mean like it's something that you might want, your heart might want. It might be a job that you've been wanting to do. It might be something that you've been wanting to acquire. There's things we need in life, and then there's many times where when I lived without the Jaguar in my life and all that magic, I would only like be in this place where I could feel there's a lot of things I could not do and didn't even try. But inviting Jaguar in my life and walking with Jaguar, it's changed everything. So jaguars are amazing in catching birds, and monkeys are amazing catching fish. They're very fast, and they're the most absolutely stealthy, is the most stealthy animal on the planet. Right? That's why we feel, Nina and I feel so blessed and so lucky. And actually we feel to see the jaguar, not a mile down the road from here, and on the road, on the dirt road, there's this like it actually got out of the jungle and crossed the road. I don't know if it was going, no, it was probably going for the beach where we have, again, hundreds of turtles that come out here. So it was going for that. It being stealthy, it teaches us. It's like when we see this, even National Geographic photographers go down into the jungle and they take weeks before they even see anything. And the first pictures they get is like a tail or an ear coming in. And then after weeks of, I say, becoming initiated, like as shamans, the photographers become shamans themselves, they come to a point where they can sit in such deep meditation silence where they can see the jaguar and take those awesome pictures or videos they bring to us through all these beautiful documentaries. The essence of it being stealthy means that when it does something, it does not expect to be seen. It makes sure it's not seen. So it doesn't expect to be applauded. It doesn't expect to be accepted or anything. So acting without being seen is an act, what we call in yoga, true act. It is not an act of ego. I didn't do something so someone can say, oh, bravo, Ray, that was awesome. You did a kick-ass job. No, we do it because we do it. We do something like the jaguar because the motivation comes directly from the heart, and the how comes directly from that communion with the magic of all of nature. May that be, what do I need to get a ramp to get my goal? How do I bring a ramp in my life if that's the job I'm focusing on? Or what do I need to learn to be underwater so I can really turn things to my favor or be able to get to that goal? And above all, one of the most important things, again, like I mentioned, is that because they're stealthy, they work and they act directly from heart. And to have no ego is one of the most important things, the most important liberating things in our life. And I will speak to it just a little bit because that's something that made me spin around my tail for years when I was learning about no ego and annihilating the ego. Don't try to annihilate your ego or that inner voice. You will never make it happen. The more you try, the more it persists. But believe me, I've tried it. I feel the ego, being Greek, ego is a Greek word. It means I. So one of the parts of discernment that's come is that the ego is the personality that we create. And if I let go of it, if I let go of how seriously attached I am to it, then I'm able to walk in life with discernment and detachment. I don't clench onto things. Right? When we want something, wanting something is very natural, very mammalian, and absolutely fine. But when I start clenching on things, I really now need it and I'm not anyone without it, then that's not fine. I begin to have a skewed view of reality. Right? Where the jaguar, with that sharp eyesight it has, it teaches us not to be at all attached or clench on things. To be and to live with no ego. We don't need to be seen. We can do something because it's a heart. It's an action of heart. For the shamans of Peru, the spots of the of the jaguar represent the stars of the night, and especially Inca cosmology. The Incas are really amazing in their astrology. They had a very, very advanced astrology. And that, representing the spots as the stars, is what brings the divine light within the nature of mammalian creatures. So if I'm walking with a jaguar and those spots are they're part of my life, I am now connected with everything that I need. I mean, the constellations that I need to help me get out of a difficulty, the constellations that I need to propel me to the next part of my own destiny line. Jaguar is the great shaman and lives with no fear in this world or the next. So the Keros, the jaguar, walks over the rainbow and leaves from this world and takes people that in that big crossing to the spirit world. So we see the jaguar moving from this world to the next world on the rainbow. They call kausa, the time itself. Time and light, and what you see in the rainbow. And it has the ability to move again in both worlds, and that is what a shaman is, right? And when I say it's the shaman can live in the spirit world and in this world, and to not be mysterious about it. It's like in essence, a shaman can be and act in the mundane everyday life, but also amidst the middle of a conversation or a situation, the shaman has the ability to really read the room, to know what is happening in the heart of someone that they're talking with, to understand what's behind things, right? To what is in the beginning, what seems the unseen, is actually seen to the shaman, to the jaguar. I'll close with this. The jaguar, as they've noticed, and the jaguar belongs in the big cat family. And actually, the jaguar we saw was surprisingly a big animal. I was really surprised because I considered them to be smaller. I thought they were much smaller. They are. They're different depending on the areas and their own lineage. But this female jaguar was very, very big. They've noticed them when they're hunting. Notice that when the prey is not close enough and they can't run because the prey will run and they'll never catch it, they've noticed that the jaguar, instead of staying there or trying to slowly get closer, which is something they do, but there's other times what they'll do is you'll see the jaguar spot, connect with the prey, and then leave almost to the opposite direction. And 10 minutes later, half an hour later, the jaguar jumps over a bush that's half a mile down where they were before, and that's exactly where the animal has gone. So the jaguar teaches us intuition. It's like, where is this situation now? Where is it going to be in the future? And intuition is something we share, we have in our prefrontal cortex, and something it'd be awesome to cultivate because it's an amazing power that we have. To be able to intuit what may be the outcome of an action of ours, or when we begin, like I said, a big business or a trip, we can project and see in the future where that can bring us. Can we hit that prey? Can we collect that? Can we be where we want? So jaguar, as in essence, no fear in this world or the next. And the jaguar is, again, the great shaman because the jaguar walks in both worlds. I'm going to say this and close and open it to questions. It's like, imagine this. I walk with my jaguar. Now, in the beginning, it was kind of felt like fake it till you make it. Now, I know I walk with a jaguar. And I walk with a jaguar because it's almost part of my motor system. I've studied it so much. I love it so much. I have it in so many forms in my house, from little statues to drawings to paintings to photos to millions of documentaries that I've seen and stories I've heard from the shamans. So I am a jaguar. I walk with a jaguar, and what I mean by that is like imagine. It's like is it a metaphor? And there comes a moment that none of this work is metaphor. Shamanic work is really pragmatic and real. And I'm going to say this to you: you're going into an interview. And you have two choices. You can walk into the interview alone, or you can walk into the interview into this person's office with the Jaguar. Which interview do you think is going to go better? Knowing that your Jaguar is standing next to you, or even just kind of leaping on the desk if the person is asking a weird question. It's kind of like right on the person's desk and leaning into that person asking the question. See, because we live, if I am to accept this as a metaphor, I have to say that everything is a metaphor. So if I'm going into that office for my interview and I am only informed by TV, the news, or maybe a series that I liked, I am going to act from that place. My logic, my logismic system is tapped into those metaphors. I'm going to go into the protagonist. I'm going to be like Superman or Spider-Man, or I'm going to be like someone that I thought that in a movie or in a series everyone knows and is amazing. We live by paradigm. There is no way we can live without a paradigm, right? We live within context. If it's for that job that I'm taking, that I want to get an interview for the job, or I want to get the job, it's all within a context. So when we bring into our context and download all the power animals and we begin to live, like say we're now with a Jaguar, we live a very, very different life. And the Jaguar is a million times stronger and will always last over Superman or Spider-Man or Superwoman or Catwoman. Their ability to move will never fail us. Their ability to move in such magical ways never fails. And when I begin to live life with an acceptance and a connection with nature, and my paradigm comes from that, then my paradigm comes from something that is true, that is natural, true, and real. Where if my paradigm, and I live in paradigms where I'm informed by TV, by news, by movies, I am informed by places that can be, to a certain extent, nice, important, good to have, but there's lack. Right? They will bring in a psychology. And what's the psychology of the news? 90% or 99% of the times, news has always been like that. It's like, it gets you worried, it gets you scared, it gets you this. It brings you in a paradigm of fear. So invite the power animals into your life and really connect and allow your whole psyche to connect and watch how things can change and watch how you can really bring this power into your life and make changes in your life, because now you walk in a different paradigm and you walk with different allies. So, horpichai to the Jaguar, my beloved Jaguar that's saved my life many times. Yeah, thank you, Bridget. So, opening to questions. Any questions? Anyone like to ask any question? From the Jaguar to the Chakana that we're talking about, the medicine wheel, or anything else that you want, all shamanic information. Yeah, Nikki.
Okay, you're gonna think I'm nuts, but I live in West Virginia on top of a mountain. And when I first moved here 4 years ago, I didn't have a vehicle. And so I was plopped down in the middle of the wilderness. There's hundreds of acres of wilderness around me on this private farm. And the house had been empty for 5 years before that, at least. And so I'm unpacking and it's midnight, and I swear I saw a black Jaguar walking up the road right in front of the house at midnight. It was a full moon and I just happened to look out. Now, people have reported in West Virginia jaguars, especially black jaguars.
Wow.
Now, I've also had experiences seeing ghosts and other spirits and little people. So I don't know for sure. There's no way to prove whether I saw a real jaguar or if it was a spirit animal. But I know it wasn't a dog because of the tail and the ears and the size and the way it was walking. And there's other people around here that have reported, including one of my neighbors that has reported seeing a jaguar.
That's amazing. That's
But these,
beautiful. That's
it's
beautiful.
either folk tales or, my spirit is there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And the first thought I had, to be honest, is like, it was dark. I mean, could have been a puma. But if you're saying that people are saying, I'm going to look into it. My sister lives in West Virginia, and
Oh,
she's an environmentalist, so she's very much into animals. So I'm going to ask and research it. I don't find it impossible. I know they live from New Mexico and Southern California all the way through Mexico, all the way down to Patagonia. They have a really broad ability to live in different climates, and I find it fascinating if if they've gotten themselves all the way there to Virginia. That's really, really awesome. And again, they're the same medicine. When you say Puma, when you go to Peru, they have the trilogy of the serpent, jaguar, condor, mind, body, spirit. You'll go to Peru, up in the mountains, the Andes, they say Puma, serpent, puma, condor. And when you go into the jungle, they say serpent, jaguar, condor. But it's the same, essentially, it's very similar. It's in the family. Thank you, Nikki.
What's the difference between a puma and a jaguar? Isn't the tail on a jaguar longer?
They're a little bit different in color and a little bit different in shape, right? The pumas, the mountain lions, rather, I want to say. Mountain
Yeah,
lions.
yeah.
The mountain lions, they call puma in Peru, are the beige brown color.
Yeah, I don't think that was this. Yeah.
It could have been a jaguar. I'll be delighted to hear that, and I'll look and investigate deeper into it. And if you saw it, you saw it.
I
So
saw it.
watch. So watch is like believe what you see. Don't believe what is generally believed, because you doubting yourself, and that's what we're talking about. How we come into this work. It's like I know that I walk with my jaguar, and if I tell someone, it's like you said, oh, you'll think I'm crazy. Well, I'd rather be crazy than be mainstream, taken left and right from others. Bridget, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I can see you.
No, that's okay. I wasn't. It's not desperate. The house is burning down. I'm sorry. No, but you just brought up actually what I was going to ask, which is some of the totems only have the three animals. They have the serpent, the jaguar, and the condor. When did the hummingbird come in? Because that sweetness is, as much as I have to summon my jaguar for fear, I also sometimes, especially when dealing with my parents, really have to bring hummingbird in there. So tell me
And they're
how that
wonderful.
happened.
I love your parents. Um, so imagine the Chakana. So there's two different states. Imagine the Chakana, instead of standing up like that it's flat. You have that cross, but it's horizontal, and you're sitting in the middle of the Chakana in that hole in the center of the Chakana, like we're talking about with Nina, it's like a hula hoop, right? So that's in this plane, in the middle world. But below me in my feet, I have the underworld, the serpent. In the middle here, in the middle world where I move through the directions of the Chakana, I move with Jaguar. And above me in the middle of the Chakana is the upper world, the condor. So the trilogy, and you'll see it, and there's a lot of statues in Peru, and if we had the chance to see some, a lot of like those totem statues. That trilogy refers to essentially those three parts of nature, and it's a big part also of the Chakana, right? Underworld, middle world, and upper world. And when you go diagonally across the Chakana, you see this trilogy also applies to body, spirit, and mind. So it's just a different, the different perspective. The trilogy, what they call the Inca trilogy, is mind, body, spirit, is serpent, jaguar, condor. But when we talk about the four directions, there you go. But when we talk about the four directions, that's where the north comes in, and we bring the hummingbird and the ancestors. So thank you for saying that. It took me a while too. The first 1 or 2 or 3 years in Peru, I was like, what is it with the three? Why is it the four? It's like, so I imagine it now like that. I'm standing and I have the three, serpent, jaguar, condor, and around me are the four directions that I can move. So I hope that answers your question. Horpichai. open to questions. We have 5 more minutes. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And again, I'm going to invite you. This is an opportunity. Go ahead, Nikki, please. This is an opportunity. If you've ever had any curiosity around shamanic work, this is my entire life for more than 15 years now. I'm like steeped in it, so I may have an answer. So, Nikki, please.
Just a quick question. Where does your sister live in West Virginia?
Now they've moved. Now they've moved to Charlotte. Is that
Charlotte.
Virginia? Yeah, they were in Blacksburg. They were in Blacksburg. She taught out of Virginia Tech, Virginia Technological Institute, right? In Blacksburg. And now
Charlotte's in
they've,
North Carolina. Yeah.
no, yeah, they've moved. Is it Charlottesville?
Charlottesville.
Charlottesville. Thank you, Bridget. Charlottesville.
Okay.
I'm trying to get them to move here.
Oh, yeah.
Costa Ricaville.
Who wouldn't
Costa
want it?
Ricaville. That will happen. Any other questions on anything shamanic, any curiosity? I'll just say this. We have started the 9-month training. We just started the 9-month training in November. The registrations are still open. We will be starting the medicine wheel in March, and this part of sharing from the Chakana is basically to give you guys an idea of what the medicine wheel is about. So we go really deep into the whole medicine wheel. But also keep in mind, go to JaguarPath.com. If you could put, Amanda, if you would be so kind, if you could put a link directly to the page of the 9-month training in the chat, that would be awesome. So the 9-month training has started. If for you, anyone interested, you can jump in. January usually is a whole wave of new people coming in. It is, for those of you, just a 9-weekend training. But if you're interested, it's also a master's degree program. We're teaching it out of Ubiquity University. So the 9 months is a master's degree program if you have your bachelor's. And again, January is the second flood we have of people joining us and coming in. So what happens is when you register, you'll immediately get the recordings of the first 2 sessions. So you're right there. You do the recordings and you're right there with everyone else. Any other question? Okay, thank you for being here in spirit with us, Nikki. And like the jaguar, if you want something, like a jaguar doesn't say the monkey is too high up the tree, or a fish is way too. It's like that's our human, not nature, our human conditioning. So there's something you want, if you want the training, or if you want to come and visit us here, we have the shamans coming in February 19th to 26th. Anything you want. One of the things that I've learned walking with the jaguar is there is nothing that is impossible. Some things take sacrifice, some things take work. I mean, I think most things take sacrifice and work. Anyone that's of an age and up, and we've come to learn that in life. If we really want something, we work for it, and or we put that effort and that focus. But there is nothing impossible. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to see here, we're coming to close. Last chance to raise a hand for any questions. Comments? Nope. I want to thank you all for taking this morning, Sunday morning, to be here with me, with us. I want to thank the Jaguars, Bridget and Eric, Amanda, Stacy. There's so many current Jaguar students here and practitioners. Thanks for being here, guys. I love you and I appreciate you. If you like this, go to the JaguarPath.com, see what else is there. We'll be sending you the newsletter for things that come up. The idea of our school is that it's a school of empowerment and a school that helps people become real. We teach the JaguarPath, we teach the mechanisms of magic and a different way of thinking. While we are abiding absolutely to lineage, I don't teach it as a tradition. I teach it as magic and as mechanisms that we can apply to live life in a very, very different way. Because that's what a shaman is back in the Inca days or today. person that can live an extraordinary life. They can live out of making decisions out of the box and out of how other people would make decisions. So thank you once again. I'm going to close with a just short meditation. I invite you to come in, to close your eyes and come inward in great appreciation for the serpent that teaches us how to change and gives us the opportunity to know we can change things from the past. With love and respect to the Jaguar, who teaches us to have no fear, to tap into our whole being without being afraid and committing to things we want to do. With sweetness, of course, to the hummingbird that brings us the nectar of life, and gratitude to the condor that reminds us to rise above and see the greater picture. Bowing and touching Mother Earth, for being grateful to her for all her gifts, and giving great thanks to Father Sun and Grandmother Moon for the reality that they create. I invite you to bow deep, chin to heart, bow to yourself. In our trainings and our teachings, you are the guru. And if you wish to, and if you did before, only if you wish to, you can bow deeper to any god or goddess, saint or avatar. Grateful to Hanuman and to Saint Francis. Sweet. And gently inhale and rise. Namaste. Horpichai, as they say in Quechua. Horpichai, thank you all very much. I hope to see you soon. There's going to be another masterclass coming up in a week or so. You'll get the email for it. And do take a look at all the trainings that are happening right now and will be happening. Thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Lots of love
Thanks,
to all.
Ray.
Hey, thank
Bye.
you, Bridget, Eric. Good to see you guys. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you all.